Welcome back, dear viewers, from a very special place here in Egypt, Cairo. We bring you from the Egyptian Air Force Museum. We bring you this interview, dear viewers, where we're going to be discussing this very special place, the Egyptian Air Force Museum, and we're going to know more about history of museums in Egypt, especially this museum. We have with us a very special guest that we're proud to have today. We have with us Dr. Bassam Shammaa, dear viewers, and Dr. Bassam is author in Egyptology and a historian. A very wonderful day, sir, on a very victorious, glorious day from a very special museum, which is your study as a historian, sir. Tell us more, please.
Well, thank you very much, first of all, for having me.
It's our pleasure, sir, and I love your outfit, by the way.
Thank you very much. It is a very special day. It's a special day since I was 11, actually, talking about my personal experience with the 6th of October, that I was 11. And I remember, as if it was yesterday, when the people were walking down the streets, they were saying good victory instead of good morning to the people, to my father, actually. So what a beautiful place, that a location that you choose to record in. Why? Because I've been wandering around museums for the last 40 years of my career as a historian and as a tour guide as well since 1985. As now, museology is a science. Like biology, like Egyptology, there is museology, which is the science of museums. You are not entering a construction to just witness a statue or witness a piece of papyrus or witness a piece of equipment which played an important role in our history. It's not like that anymore. It is activities. And that is what's going on in those 2 or 3 museums that I know best among the others. And I'm telling the others as a proposition, please learn from here. Because 1, you are entering a place to learn about the military history, and that's very important to, as I call it, sow the seeds, to throw and to sow the seeds of loyalty to the land through history. And that's what I've been doing for the last, let's say, 30 years.
Dr. Bassam, could you tell us more about the role of this museum in raising the awareness of the Egyptian people or the people of Egypt in light of all the circumstances that's taking place nowadays?
Very crucial. Very crucial. You are right. Very crucial. Yes.
And the war that's taking place, the soft war or the cold war, which is through social media, which is, of course, we are all working, especially media now, on fighting this war, because it's our job, because we're all Egyptians and we have to raise this awareness among the people of Egypt so no one can hit us anymore.
Well, first of all, thank you for awareness. Thank you that you mentioned this expression, because this is the name of the day. The name of the day is awareness. I would like to make everybody aware of the correct evidences, the correct history, because they are trying to shake the foundation of your history first, because they couldn't have done anything else because they got easily got defeated. So to those who did not gain any land because they were defeated by your brave soldiers, now they are using different weaponry. So now, in a way, the battle is not a jet fighter and a tank all the time. It's still there, but more, that is the 4th generation war that we are talking about, and raising the awareness. This small mobile, which we all love, and what an amazing revolution for the world, that you can talk, you can picture, you can do all of what you do with your mobile. But on the other side, like any machine in the world, it can be used positively or it can be used negatively. So we are all aware what's happening on the internet. I am a very big fan of internet. Personally, with me in this age, I'm a very big fan of internet, and internet plays a very important role in my conveying the message of history and monuments and correct history. And all the time I'm actually speeding against people who are sharing wrong information. This museum is doing exactly the same on the land. So
On the ground.
on the ground, exactly. So now we are having two paths. We have the path of what we like to call the fourth generation wars, and the museum here using the museology, using all what I explained of how teaching the kids, how lately actually I was very impressed lately that they are now very active with the children and the grown-ups who are maybe facing a little bit of trouble physically, or they are physically challenged, or maybe some autism and all of this. God bless all. So now they are all here and they are learning and they are singing national songs and they are drawing. There are ideas of how to teach them how to write hieroglyphs, I'm employed as a volunteer to teach everybody here the correct history, modern and past, because we have the ancient history and we have the modern history, as this is a country of 500,000 years of history.
Yes.
So the museum is playing a very important role, like all other museums. But as I said, we need to have this using the same. People say, so how can we defeat this internet negativity?
How can we, sir?
How can we defeat it?
And especially when we know that the youth, our youth, can be influenced easily through social media, and until you, an intellectual person or thinker like you, sir, fight this battle against any of our youth or patriotic people fight this battle, so it's a very difficult battle.
You're right. This is not an easy battle, and as I heard it from our heroes in 1973, we used to fight tanks and battles and soldiers and this. Today, you are fighting through a small machine like this, and it's a very attractive machine. It's a very attractive thing to press very easily on a screen and share, and share, and share. It's in many countries, it's inexpensive. So it's very seductive. Let me use this word, seductive, in a sense that it's very colorful. It is very thinking that you are doing the right thing, but you're not. It is very wow, because sometimes honey is in the poison.
Exactly.
Using our Egyptian
saying.
Exactly. And unless you are aware. So one, kids and grown-ups, please don't share unless you are 100% sure of the source that you are sharing from. And that's why when I tell the parents through your channel, bring your children to the museums as a whole. Bring your museums to military, to bring your family to military museums, to the 6th of October panorama. Never let the 6th of October pass unless you bring your family to the mood
of the 6th of October.
Of 6th of October. It's a mood. We were talking before we are recording with you, we were talking with people were having tears in their eyes. I was talking, and the presenter in the Egyptian Maspero channel, he told me after we went on air, he said, when you were talking about the Egyptian army, I had tears in my eyes. So 6th of October as a word will bring shivers down your spine. We don't want this feeling to fade.
It will never fade.
It will never fade, inshallah.
Okay,
God
Dr.
will.
Bassam, I want to ask you a question here in this context. Thinkers and intellectual people like you, when we come to the young generation now, the youth, the kids, how can we teach them to grow up and be very intellectual, very decent, represent Egypt?
Thank you very much. This is what they call in the West the $6 million question.
Thank you so much, sir.
Because it is very hard when you are talking about generations. But remember, also kind of inviting the memory of 1973. Look what the generations did. Then 1967, and then the 6 years of the war, and then the big war. Because the war did not, I heard from a very big hero of the 6th of October battle only half an hour ago. He told me the battle was 22 years, not only some days, because he considered the battle starting from after 1967 all the way until we returned Taba and Sinai 100%. He is convinced that this is, and they convinced me. And this, historically, I'm correcting. See, he corrected me. I was talking about the 6th of October battle from the 6th of October until the 20th of October, but he corrected me.
Which is 49 years.
Which is 49.
How, he discussed 90 years.
He actually said that the battle did not start by 6th of October. 6th of October was the great victory, but the battle started after 1967, and it went all the way through 6th of October, a beautiful victory, all the way until we regained Sinai 100%. He also considered the diplomatic victory of returning Taba and regaining Sinai 100% is victory as well, which is, he's very correct on that. Going back to your question, I'm talking, most of the books that I started as a writer, as an author, it was towards kids. It was targeting the kids, the children, all right? We're talking about 6 years and 7 years. So I'm very well acquainted with the mentality of those different generations all through, let's say, the last 30 years. That's number one. So for you to teach the children loyalty to the land of Egypt, you should first know and study very accurately and very deep. And please don't deal with them as children, because they are not as we were thinking the way how we treat our children. Because now they are 4 years of age and they are technologically challenging you.
They are.
Correct or not?
Correct.
I personally, one of the people who actually started to learn about computers when I saw my nieces playing on the keyboards like so. And I said, well, I'm a bit embarrassed here. I need to know this. So, number one, don't deal with them as they are inferior and you are the superior. That's number one. Number two, please, when you introduce the science that you're introducing, in my case, history and monuments, for example, which is a very exciting topic. I've been doing it for 40 years. Until now, I'm still perspiring and I'm still like gazing with my eyes when I talk about Egypt historically. So when you are conveying the message to them, convey the message to them in an easy way. Forget the numbers and forget big names and forget it is 1926 BC. Put this in the books. Put this for the specialists. But if I go to the kids and tell them, do you know that Tutankhamun, who we call now Tutankhamun, took power when he was 9. So how come a 9 years of age king deals with the biggest nation on earth? So he starts to get in with me because he's 9. So he goes, people like my age were on the throne of this country one day. So you are giving him, conveying the message of history, number one. Number two, throwing seeds of loyalty. Number three, teaching them the correct history, not the history which can be kind of, if you like the way, changing or converting it into different facts, like through movies, for example. We all know movies in the West can take you somewhere else. Unfortunately, some of the movies we made 50 or 60 years ago were not historically correct. Let's put it this way to be polite. It was not historically, like in Nasser Salah ad-Din and all of this, lots of mistakes historically.
Yes.
Today, this is not happening. Today, with a big deal, people like us are standing like falcons. No, really, we're like falcons. We are here in the Museum of Falcons and Hawks. And we are the hawks of history, right? And I'm very proud to be one of those hawks that when I see there is an episode being filmed going towards a wrong history, I jump in and tell them, correct this, this never happened, this is what happened. For the children, they are receptive. They are like a sensitive film of camera, and you are printing on that sensitive film what you want and what you think is correct. So dangerous, very. Sensitive, like amazing sensitive. Why? Because the sentence that you are printing on that mentality is going to keep forever. I remember, I'm 60 years of age this year, and I can tell you the temple of Kalabsha that my parents took me in Aswan to visit when I was 6. When I was 6 years, 54 years ago, and I can tell you the columns, and I can tell you the color of my checkered brown and white shirt that I was wearing. Why? Because they printed the love of monuments and Egyptian history on me when I was 6. When I was 11, 1973, they took me to Suez Canal when I was 11, and I remember. So they showed the loyalty of the land. So loyalty of history, loyalty of the land. The result is a person fighting for history and fighting for the Egyptian correctness for the last 40 years.
Dr. Bassam, the role of women
Yes.
in this very important
huge, yeah.
day, and the role of women in, of course, being very patriotic, because women nowadays play a very important role,
Yes.
and as we know, they hold very important jobs nowadays, of course, in ministries here in Egypt. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi worked on the women empowerment amazingly. The role of women in such museums.
It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal because, as I told you, I'm a man who actually monitored the Egyptian society for the last 50 years. I started monitoring the Egyptian society when I was very young. So now I can tell you at least we are dealing with 3 or 4 generations that I can now put it in writing, if you like, to see how women in the house and how women on desk and how women in military and how women in history. And when I talk about women in my lectures, I start by the first physician doctor, for example, in the history of mankind. This always plant inside women, here in my lectures, this feel, I can see it in their eyes, that they are like, I start sparkling when I tell them 4,400 years ago, the first physician in the world was, the physician lady was Egyptian. The first military lady, who led the army because her husband was martyred in the Hyksos battles, was a lady. Now, if the Egyptian women, and they do, know the history of her grandmother, and she continued on the same path to reach what we reach today, as you mentioned already. So I guess, and I believe, that the Egyptian woman is playing the role equally, and in some cases, I can tell you that blindfoldedly, in some cases even more than the male. In the houses, I was brought up this way. I was brought up with a very intellectual mother, but she was the mother of the house. So if you are a mother of the house, or if you are a lady who's working and a mother of the house, that's double the effort. Bless you, bless you, bless you.
Dr. Bassam, how can we raise the awareness of and increase propaganda of this museum? And is the propaganda for this museum well deserved?
I say what you did today and the media, the Egyptian media, but I still request more for this museum and all museums.
Egyptian media, which we're working on now on this very special day, which marks a very, of course, special day. Social media.
Social media, big time, big time. And they do have a Facebook for this museum. They do have a Facebook, and it's a very active Facebook. We need more from the Egyptian media and from the internet.
Dr. Bassam al-Shammaa, of course we need interviews with you to know more about Egypt, our country. Very special day, 49th anniversary of the October War victory. From this very special place, of course we need intellectuals, thinkers, very informative knowledge we gained from you today.
Thank you.
We always need more of you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us today. It was our utmost pleasure. Hope you enjoyed being with us today on this very special day.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you for Nile TV, and for more success, inshallah, God willing.
Thank you so much. Dr. Bassam, an author in Egyptology and a historian. It was a pleasure having Dr. Bassam with us today, dear viewers. Stay tuned. You're still watching Nile Cruise on Nile TV. Don't go away. We'll be right back.